The Rainbow Tower. Written by Alex Tymms. Illustrated by R H Stewart. Episode 33. Orange. A roar of triumph filled the lobby as a multicoloured mob burst out of the lift. At their head was a baton-wielding Silas. Jed was so amazed to see him that he took his eye off Swenson, who seized his chance. Jed found himself thrown down onto the orange carpet. He looked up to see Swenson holding up his hands in triumph. The once sticky mucus covering Jed had dried to fine white flakes that now fell harmlessly from Swenson's palms. "To me!" Swenson yelled. Katie tried to stop him, but by now the enforcers had moved in to defend their chief executive. She was flung away by one of the cowled bodyguards to land in a heap not far from Jed. Swenson made for the lifts at the far side, orange executives and white enforcers fighting a rearguard action against the indigos, blues, greens and yellows pursuing them. "Stop him! Stop Swenson!" Jed yelled as he staggered to his feet, but it was no good. Through the brawling in front of him, he saw the lift doors shut, whisking the chief executive away back to the upper reaches of orange. Jed held out his hand to Katie, who was pushing herself up. She looked at it warily. "It's all right," he said. "It's dried and harmless now." He pulled her to her feet. "That's why he got away. Sorry." He felt awkwardly self-conscious as she looked at him and took a step backwards, feeling he was too close to her. He thought she might be cross as he let Swenson escape, but before he could wonder whether he was right, he was thumped on the back, releasing a huge cloud of white flakes. "Blimey, you need to do something about that dandruff." It was Silas. "I told you I'd see you at the top." "God, tasteless. This place is completely tasteless," Silas concluded as he looked around. "I like the carpet, though," the man said as he bounced on his feet. Jed laughed and turned to look at Katie, hoping both to share the lighter mood and that she wasn't cross with him after all. However, she'd gone. Deflated, he looked back at Silas. "How did you get into yellow?" he asked. "Bunch of useless pen pushers," Silas grunted. No offence," he added as one of the yellows marched an orange executive past. "Can you believe it? We were all there, but until they had the right signed piece of paper, they wouldn't do anything. Well, so we all came up the..." He turned to the nearest green. "What did you call them? You know, those things outside." "Hanging gardens." "Yeah, that's them. Well, we cut holes from one up to the other and used ladders to climb between them. Bypassed the yellow lifts, no problem." "But didn't they try to stop you?" "Nah, they're not so good at the physical stuff," Silas hissed as another yellow went by. "But now they're running for their lives just like the rest of us." Jed was horrified. "You mean it's reached yellow?" he asked as Clarice and Graham came over. "Yeah, blue and green are gone and nothing's left, just like you and me saw from the lift in indigo." Jed tried to push the image of Trevor falling into the maths from his mind. It felt like a lifetime ago, and yet like only 1 minute had passed, all at the same time. "What do you mean, gone?" Clarice asked. "Well, that thing don't stop for anything," Silas explained, clocking her green overalls. "Glass, concrete, bone, your plants, all eaten to make it bigger." Clarice looked devastated. Uncharitably, Jed thought to himself that perhaps now she might believe him. "Then we need to climb through orange as fast as possible," he said. If he concentrated on doing things, then he could escape from the awkward feelings inside. "Well, why?" Silas said. "Soon we won't be able to climb any higher. I mean, what then? We jump?" "Silas," Jed said, his eyes lighting up, "of course you don't know. We've found a way out." "What do you mean, we?" Graham growled. "You found it. We've been sitting on our backsides under lock and key." Jed stared at Graham, quite taken aback. "Well, get on with it," the man grumped back to his usual self. "Tell him the plan, or do you want to wait until your monster actually arrives?" We're building a bridge, Jed told Silas. Others who had come up stopped to listen. The remaining enforcers and executives had been tied up and corralled. We'll go across to another tower. We can't live there, it's too broken for that, but we should be able to use it to go down. All we need to do is make it to the construction areas in red. Silas grinned and gave Jed an enormous bear hug, nearly squeezing the life out of him. I knew it! I knew there was something about you. Well, what are we waiting for? Graham asked. But just as he spoke, the company screens, which had been blank until now, crackled into life, their pictures fractured and reflected by the chandelier above. A grainy silhouette appeared, flickering in and out of focus. This is Chief Executive Swenson, the figure announced. He can't be far away, Graham said. Shh, Clarice hissed. Strikers are attempting to bring their industrial action to Orange. Strikers? Silas exclaimed. What's he talking about? I urge all Orange executives, Swenson went on, to try to stop the advance of their picket line. Enforcers have been mobilised and will soon return the situation to normal. What? Silas roared. Normal? A bloody great... He made a gesture with both hands as if he didn't know how to describe it properly. Thing is eating its way up the tower and he says it's normal. He doesn't believe the mass exists, Jed said. He noticed Clarice looked embarrassed when he said this. Well, he soon will when it swallows him whole, Silas shouted in indignation up at the screen. Above them, Swenson's message began to play again. Graham sighed. Well, I guess this means we'll not have an easy time going up. It's worse, Silas said, turning back from making faces at the screen. There's thousands of people in yellow, and that lift only takes 30 in one go. It'll take, a tower knows how long to bring them all up. I don't suppose there's any hanging you-know-whats in yellow. Gardens, Clarice said. No. Jed pulled out his phone. But there has to be a way, he said, and turned it on. The stairs only work inside a colour, not between them. There's always the recycling tubes, but they're difficult to climb and not everyone will be able to use them. I take it there are a whole mix of workers. Silas nodded. Yeah, from small children upwards. Jed looked at the screen, desperately searching for a solution. Then a voice came from behind them all. I have an idea. Thank you very much for listening to The Rainbow Tower. To see more of R H Stewart's excellent artwork, you'll find him on Instagram at roy.hootson.stewart. For Alex Tymms, why not try the novel OutCaste at ao3.com? Or, for something completely different, check out the Amier series on YouTube or at amier.com, also by Alex Tymms. The Rainbow Tower. Text copyright Alex Tymms. Illustrations copyright R H Stewart. The right of Alex Tymms and R H Stewart to be identified as the author and illustrator of this work has been asserted in accordance with the Copyright Designs and Patents Act 1988.